Hey guys, David here. Welcome to Digital Outlook. Today is day 4 in our week-long spree of XRP. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how XRP is going to revolutionize this new digital economy. But before we do, if you'd hit that like and subscribe and tell your friends and family so we can get this information out to as many people as possible, that would be fantastic. So guys, without further ado, why don't we get to it? So something kind of interesting about Ripple's history when it comes to this digital asset space and the future digital economy is this. Ripple came on the scene around 2013. Now, about that time, Bitcoin had gained a lot of popularity in the underground economy. So remember that Bitcoin was a reaction to the whole 2008 financial crisis. And the white paper spells it out pretty clearly that, look, they were looking for a more decentralized system where the value of the monetary instrument just couldn't be inflated at will by all these banks. Because look, in 2008, there were a lot of average folks that were literally crushed. And in fact, many people were taking their keys, going into the bank, dropping them off, and just doing a midnight special, and were completely crushed. And a lot of families even were living out of their cars. It was really quite bad. Well, Bitcoin comes out and says, look, we've had enough of these central banks pulling all these levers and causing all these issues. At least that was the narrative in the beginning. And so this whole underground economy and counterculture to this fiat system by 2013 was quite well built up. Well, here comes Ripple. And what they do is they are utilizing this XRP ledger to work with traditional finance and the banks. And I'm telling you guys, they were absolutely despised for doing it. In fact, you had folks that were getting on various bulletin boards and things like that who were paid to create all kinds of FUD regarding Ripple and really push this narrative of how they're working with the banks and they're really against us and they're not good for this space and we need to get rid of them and blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling you, that sentiment really traveled along with Ripple for many, many years. And then still there are reverberations of it now, especially among the Bitcoin maxi crowd. They absolutely despise Ripple and XRP for what it is. Now, Ripple had the foresight way back then to kind of see that there is an opportunity here to kind of bridge these two worlds, to take this cryptocurrency space and meld it into the new financial system or a new financial system, but utilizing a lot of the infrastructure that was already in place and maybe modernizing the rails of that infrastructure with the new financial system and with traditional finance. So they were dealing with central banks and on and on and on. Well, guys, as a startup, just imagine this. How many startups do you know that have that level of access that Ripple and XRP had? Not too many. Not too many could get in and have a seat at the table with the G7, G8, or the G20 and sit down with some of these World Bank presidents and all these central banks and come up with all kinds of solutions and discuss the alternative to what they were thinking. And believe it or not, they found some friends in that neighborhood, and slowly but surely, the infrastructure for this new digital economy was being mapped out. And guess who had a primary seat at the table for drafting the changes that were going to come in play? Yep, you guessed it. Ripple did, and the utilization of XRP. So now fast forward to 2022. And what do you see going on? Well, you see some major developments with respect to the new digital economy. You can practically taste it. It's in the wind. We all can see it coming. We can feel it coming. And when you're looking at who are the major players in this, so you got the International Monetary Fund, you got the World Economic Forum, right? You got the Bank of International Settlements, you've got the European Central Bank, and you got the Federal Reserve. Now, let me ask you something. Where does Ripple fit in all that? Well, guys, they are a charter member of the World Economic Forum. They're a regular attendee with the International Monetary Fund and have actually been cited in a lot of their publications, in their PDFs, especially with respect to the new digital economy. You got them meeting up with the Federal Reserve. You've got them sitting down at the table with Christine Lagarde, who is the leader of the European Central Bank. You're seeing them sitting there with Augustin Carson, who is the general manager, the head of the Bank of International Settlements. I mean, these guys are some way connected in big, big ways. And they are sitting on the governance council of the ISO 222 messaging standard. And they have had a hand in the development of that standard, in crafting the various levels of requirements in order to become compliant. That is truly phenomenal. I mean, how can you deny that Ripple, along with the utilization of XRP, is not going to have a big stake in this new economy? Well, it is. There's absolutely no doubt. And along with that, they are in the process of helping major nations develop their central bank digital currencies. I mean, they're on the US dollar program, they're in Brazil, they're on the British pound, they're all over the world, and I believe they're also helping out in India. They have offices literally in every major country or major region for certain on Earth, and they're interacting at a very high level. And when you think about that, and especially when you're dealing with their on-demand liquidity issue, and how that is going to resolve the whole nostro-vostro circumstance. I mean, this nostro-vostro circumstance, now a lot of people will come out and they'll say, hey, look, there's really no money that's never employed. But that's not truly genuine. That's actually being a little bit disingenuous, because the whole rails for the SWIFT system was operated on that trust system of the nostro-vostro accounts. That's what established the liquidity, somewhat like a liquidity pool would be. That helped the trust between these various organizations to actually transfer massive values in the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. And so that had to be in play. But now in this new digital economy, when you're not talking about days and weeks for settlement, but seconds, how on earth are you going to validate in seconds that there is real liquidity there and that these transactions are valid, and you're not talking about somebody pulling a rug pull on you to the tune of $100 million, $200 million? Well, you use on-demand liquidity. And you're using a native asset on the XRP ledger, which namely is XRP. And they employ this XRP for that process. So there is a primary use case for XRP that is going to solve a massive problem in the new digital economy. Now, I want to point something out here too on that issue right there. A lot of folks are saying, well, it's going to be used in this on-demand liquidity process, and as a result, wow, it's going to have all this appreciation. Guys, look, when you're dealing with a transaction like that happens in seconds, there's really no arbitrage there. So, let's say you pick up the XRP, for $1 a piece, and you're sending $100 million, so you're using $100 million of XRP. You transfer the 100 million, from that one central bank digital currency, let's say it's a British pound, and it's sending over to Mexican pesos, and it gets to the Mexican financial institution, and they, convert that XRP back into pesos or whatever. Well, it happens in seconds, and as a result, there's really no variance, or at least a very, very, very minute variance. So the price of XRP isn't going to appreciate just being used in ODL, but it's going to appreciate in this capacity, guys, supply and demand. Because let's go back to that whole 2008 deal, and even what we're dealing with today. Inflation in the fiat system, in this current monetary system, is literally spiraling out of control. And it's leading to an absolute collapse of the current monetary system. So what needs to happen, guys? We need to have a mechanism where we are able to control that with deflationary instruments. And XRP, by the way, is a deflationary instrument. In this way, there's only ever going to be 100 billion XRP. And in fact, there is that possibility that a portion of the escrow could even be burned and not be utilized. And that is what what's going to cause the price of XRP to extremely appreciate, because it is going to be utilized in practically every facet of our economy in terms of, liquidity between the central banks and the Nostro Vostro and on-demand liquidity in that way, in terms of actual value and using it as a means of settlement or purchase, because there are folks who are going to be able to utilize XRP as a means of settlement for various contracts and various services and products and whatnot, and the individual who holds it being able to convert that back into whatever central bank digital currency or fiat, add the new digital fiat system in their native. And it's that supply and demand, like every other commodity, that is going to cause the value of XRP to literally explode. So now, having said that about the supply and demand issue, I want you to think about something. Do you think 100 billion XRP is really a lot? When you think of this whole global economy, do you really think that's a lot? What if countries are sending like $1 trillion over, right? What would the value of XRP have to be in order to move $1 trillion of value? There you go, guys. That's what you're dealing with there. That is the whole supply and demand issue right there. When you're utilizing XRP in this kind of capacity, it is going to be the utilization of it and the supply and demand of it that is going to be a price driver. Now, David Schwartz literally came out, and this issue was addressed, and he posted some amazing posts that literally talked about this, that the value of XRP has to be high in order for it to accomplish the task for which it's going to be utilized. And so 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 digits. Can you even imagine a 5-digit XRP? It seems almost unbelievable. For me, I'm gauging at, a 2 for sure and a high 2 into the 3 digits for 3 figures for XRP. But there are people out there who are absolutely convinced that we are going to see a 4 and even a 5-digit XRP. Now, I know that sounds almost mind-boggling to even conceive, but I want you to imagine something. Take a look at the debt market. Now, a few videos back when I was doing tokenomics in this entire space, I showed the world money supply. Well, the debt market is into the tune of trillions and trillions of dollars. And right now, by the way, we're having a major issue in this debt market. And it has been proposed that XRP, and by the way, other ISO 222 compliant cryptos like Hedera Hashgraph, to tokenize the debt market and to bring some stability into that place, along with, guys, the $89.2 trillion stock market. Look, all securities, all stocks, all bonds, everything like that is eventually going to be tokenized. And you are going to see such massive values pummel into this space and see such appreciations. It is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in the history of mankind. And that's what's really going to take place, because we're not just moving into a different type of money, a different way of thinking. No, guys, this is such a revolution in the evolution of our societies that it's truly going to be something that most of us aren't even really grasping totally yet. I mean, think of just the metaverse alone. Now, this is another issue, but I just want us to think about that. We can see just in the last decade how Facebook and YouTube and different ones, Twitch and Twitter and on, how that has transformed social media. And in fact, there are people who are closer in relationship to people that are literally thousands of miles away from them, geographically, across borders and whatever, than they are to people that are only 100 feet away and live next door. Why? Because of social media. Now, that has revolutionized the way in which we think, the way in which we do things, the ideologies that we are adopting as and society. Because you're literally not just talking about societies and cultures because of a geographical area anymore. No, you're talking about societies and cultures because of an adoption of an ideology and a mindset, and that could be from anywhere in the world. Now, that's how social media has made some massive transformations, and that's literally only happened in the last 10 years. Now, I want you to put that on steroids and just imagine being in an alternative type of, virtual reality, if you will, and what it would be like if people were doing a majority of their social interacting in metaverse type of situations. I'm telling you guys, Look, there are some of the biggest Fortune 500s out there right now that are investing so heavily in this space, in this new metaverse space, that it is truly something else. And in fact, they're out there buying virtual land. Listen, digital land, and paying more than what they would pay for real property in the real world. Now that's mind-boggling, but it's happening nonetheless. So when I think of how XRP will transfer this new digital economy and the impact that it's going to have, look at, you can't put a limit on what this is going to result in the innovation. People could not foresee the explosion of the utilization of the internet when it was first coming out. In fact, they had a hard time even understanding what an email was. And you can go on YouTube right now and look up, all these various morning shows where they got a guy, nerdy type guy come on there and explaining what email is and all that. And they're like laughing and ha ha ha. Boy, I'll tell you what, if we only understood what it was back then, and most of us didn't, it was just like, we just did not get it. And if we had, our lives would have been so transformed. You think the dot-com bubble was something? I'm telling you what, the protocols, we didn't have the opportunity to invest in the protocols back then. We could invest in companies that were building on the infrastructure, right? Like AOL and America Online and blah, 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 blah. But we weren't investing in like hypertext transfer protocol. But now, guys, you are investing in the actual protocol. That is something else. That is really unheard of when you think about it. And that is why we're going to see XRP take such a lion's share of this new digital economy that it is going to blow people's minds. And truly, I genuinely believe this. You're going to watch average people's lives be just completely transformed in ways that they don't even see coming. Look, I was just reading saw an article where not too long ago, but maybe about I think it was in 2011 or something like that, 5,000 Bitcoin were sold for like $5.05. 5,000 Bitcoin. Do you know how much that was worth at the top? Over $300 million. Just 10, 11, 12 years later, 300 million. $5 turned into 300 million. Now, can you imagine that in just a decade of time? I sure can't. I mean, that's just unbelievable. But that's what was happening, guys. And if we had had a little bit of foresight, and you know what? What's crazy is I was working in special enforcement at that time, and I was dealing with the underground economy, and I knew about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin at that time, we were told by our own governments, hey, Bitcoin is for tax cheats, pedophiles, and drug dealers. And of course, you just stayed away from it. Wow, was I ever wrong? One meal out to a decent restaurant would have literally changed our lives unbelievably. But I missed it. Well, guys, I am not missing this one. And I sure don't want you to miss it either. And I'm telling you, what you're going to see is going to be something that they are going to write down in the history books. And it is going to change generations of people. Now, that is my opinion. So, guys, this is the video I have for you today. And I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Now, like always, if I've said something that you disagree with, well, you go ahead and you drop that right down in the comments there. And if there's something that I left out, you feel free, you drop that down in there as well, and we can have a discussion. So guys, before you go, I want to show you something kind of interesting. Now, I've shown this scene of this view of the lake in my neighborhood before, but look, guys, how dry this is. I mean, it is way out there. And on top of it, you can see some old tires that have been left there and all kinds of other stuff that have been thrown in the lake. At least there's no skeletons, so that's nice with Halloween coming and whatnot. But in any case, it is quite interesting how dry it's been and how much of that water has evaporated. Really quite amazing. Well, guys, as you know, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. But if you found value in it, if you'd hit that like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And hey, don't forget to hit that notification bell down there so that you don't miss out on any of the videos that we're uploading. And if you're one of the thousands of people who have been watching these videos and haven't yet subscribed, would you help us reach our goal of getting to 10,000 subs and join the channel? We would really love to have you on board. So, in the meantime and in between time, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll catch you in the next one.